Ever since the nuclear power plant opened next to the weapons factory, El Presidente's been struck by one brilliant idea. Just combine the two and voila, nuclear weapons. With just one warhead in hand, he believes Tropico could finally stand toe-to-toe with the world's greatest powers. First Cuba, then the Dominican Republic, and maybe, just maybe, even the USA. To prepare for this glorious destiny, he orders Penultimo to get defenses ready. Watchtowers, barracks, an aircraft carrier, a spy academy, a research lab, and of course, a nuclear program. And Penultimo, ever diligent, recommends amending the Constitution to ensure that Tropico has professional soldiers to run the whole operation. But he also reminds El Presidente that the people were promised tourism, gourmet restaurants, cocktail bars, casinos, even authentic ancient ruins. El Presidente scoffs. Tropicans will embrace his new vision of freedom, and they'll wait for tourism. All they need is a bit of persuasion. Perhaps some billboards and heroic statues of El Presidente himself will help. Still, Penultimo insists on adding at least a few tourist attractions to keep the people happy, plus new housing for the homeless and new industries to fund El Presidente's military adventures. To this, El Presidente enthusiastically agrees, because why not have both money and power? So today, we'll be building Tropico into a military powerhouse. But first, we'll make it even richer, balancing the books now and well into its glorious future. So sit back, El Presidente demands it, and smash that like button and subscribe as tribute to his eternal glory. But before we jump in, did you know that your personal information is floating around the internet, readily available for anyone to find with a quick search? Those sites that hold your data are called data brokers. While it might not seem like that big of a deal, having your information out there makes you vulnerable to spam calls, phishing attempts, and even identity theft. That's why I've been using Delete Me. Delete Me is a service that helps remove your personal information from data broker websites. And it removes everything: your name, phone number, email, even your home address. And while you could be doing all of this yourself, there are hundreds of these sites to deal with. Delete Me does it for you. And it does it correctly, comprehensively, and on an ongoing basis. Even though this portion of the video is sponsored, I've been a paying subscriber for myself and my family for years. And it's been a real relief knowing that we have that extra layer of protection. If you would like that same peace of mind, get 20% off Delete Me plans for you or your family when you use my code CityPlanner at checkout, or when you go to joindeleteme.com/cityplanner. A huge thank you to Delete Me for sponsoring the video. Now let's get back to it. While our primary goal is working out our military, this is going to be incredibly expensive, and that's why I want to focus on industries first. Now, what I'm thinking is that we've got 5 industries that we haven't touched yet: the cannery, textile mill, furniture factory, plastic plant, and vehicle factory. And from my understanding, the vehicle factory is actually incredibly lucrative, so we definitely want to work on all of these and that one in particular. But let's start out by unlocking all these blueprints. And then before we enact any of these, we have to take a look at our edicts. And that's because the industrialization edict is going to be incredibly valuable. It'll decrease the cost of all industrial buildings by 50% and last for 2 years. We won't be able to enact this for another 4, but that's completely fine.
With a program for industrialization, we can plan far enough ahead to make money, but not so far ahead as to have to worry about environmental impact.
That's ridiculous. We're going to issue that for sure. And then before we build anything, let's shake down our friends. So we'll get financial aid from the Western powers, and the Eastern Bloc doesn't like us enough to give us financial aid. We'll have to come back to them down the line. Now for our first couple of factories, I want to focus on this area right here. And that's because the cannery can do 2 things for us. It can process either pineapples or fish to produce canned goods. I got rid of all the pineapple plantations, but we can add some back. So let's begin by adding this right about here. And I'm placing this here because it's very near our bus stop. Then we'll need a couple of plantations to support this. And it looks like there are a few different areas where we could grow pineapples. Of course, none of them are readily accessible. I think we're probably going to place the plantation up here and try to move this logging camp. So I'll put this right here, then temporarily demolish this road. And then I want to establish a few plantations. We'll go with 2 for pineapple. But because I want a multiculture, I want to have something on the other side as well. And we're not currently growing cotton anywhere, so I think I'll go for this. And 1 more small pineapple plantation. And then to ensure maximum efficiency, we're going to add a manure spreader as well. And while we were waiting for all of this to be constructed, we got a dual demand. And I actually care about this one because we're going to produce furniture. We currently aren't doing that, but we're going to do that in short order. And And now that all of this is constructed, let's make sure it's as efficient as it can be. So we'll set the work mode for all these to multiculture, crank the budget, and check out the upgrades. And interestingly, this pollination parcel actually increases the efficiency of nearby pineapple plantations by 3%. We have 3 of them right there, so you better believe we're going to apply that across the board. And we won't do anything with green waste chopper considering we have no ranches nearby. And then for our lone pineapple plantation, we'll apply the mechanization upgrade to improve the efficiency here as well. And then here at our cannery, I'm going to crank the budget, but I want to take a look at the work modes. And interestingly, we can supply the local market exclusively, which will improve the efficiency of the grocery store. I don't think I necessarily care about that right now, so we won't do that. But I will add the automated line, the flash freezer, and this high pressure canner is going to get me to add another cannery because apparently the cannery can also can meat. So spam. And I'll speed this one along and give it basically the exact same treatment, plus the high pressure canner. Now, interestingly, we have a power shortage right now, so we probably should resolve that right away. And over here by our power plant, it looks like our network balance is only 16 megawatts, and that's our big issue. So I'm gonna add another power plant, and I think I'll just place this right across the street from our existing coal power plant. The only consideration is the amount of coal that we have. I believe that we're actually producing the coal right here. We're gonna probably want a second mine. And because of that, I'm gonna relocate this power plant. And then I always forget that I can do this. I can clone this power plant with its settings and place it right next door. I'll do the exact same thing with this mine. And the saddest mulligan, I can't actually fit 2 of these here, so that was all for naught. But I'm gonna try it again, but not with coal. And that's because I'm noticing that our weapons plants right here don't have nickel. Now we're producing nickel right here. So my hope is that I can fit another one of these right next to it. And in this case, I can. And then we have an iron mine, which is the other portion of this supply chain. And I'll do a bit more reorganization for the sake of efficiency. And now that everything's been built, we have a ton of surplus power, which is excellent. And I'm also noticing that our steel mills are running low on iron. So it's really good that we added the extra mine right here. I think that's going to come in really handy in the near future. Now back to cannery one more time because I want to make sure that we're canning our fish as well. So we'll add 1 cannery right here, really close to our fishing harbor. And I'll add the automated line, and looking at the flash freezer, my goodness, the flash freezer is actually for coffee. So we need another cannery. So this one will be for the coffee. And then I'll clone this one and place this right here for the fish. And with that, we should be absolutely supercharging these supply chains. So let's make our way back over to our farming island and think about the furniture factory. Now this does emit pollution, so I'll probably want to keep this a little ways away from the plantations and maybe do something like this. Now I also want to take a look at these supply chains. We have 1 logging camp right here and another right here. And I think at one point this made sense. It might seem like it doesn't right now, but look at the efficiency. It's pretty good. It's the exact same as this one. So I was going to change this. I'm going to leave it actually. And on second thought, I'm going to move this thing and then we'll set the logging area. And for this one, I will log right here. I think I might just try to log this area around here. And then we've already fully upgraded these, so there's nothing more that I have to do here. And now let's see if we can improve the efficiency here by cranking the budget and adding some upgrades. And the only upgrade that we can apply is for casting molds, which will allow us to store plastic here. I'm going to add this in anticipation of having plastics in the near future. Oh, and we have an election in 2 years. I will deliver a speech, but bluntly, most things look good to me. So I'll just acknowledge the crime safetiness, praise the environmentalists considering I know we're making them incredibly unhappy. We're not going to blame anyone just yet, and we will promise no improvements.
My Tropicans, my people, my children. Your prosperity is my honor. Your solidarity is my faith. and I gracefully accept your love. You are my Tropico. Know this, my people. I have nothing but contempt for criminals, especially the type that get caught. When I heavily arm the police force, you will no longer fear the lawbreakers. Let us speak of growth, for like a tenacious weed, Tropico must grow. And even weeds have friends, friends of the earth herself. Their love of the green is a love we can all share.
Indeed.
It is you, my friends, who I thank for making me what I am today. I am proud to be your Presidente. Viva Tropico!
And viva el Presidente. Now, thankfully, that speech seems to have been successful. We've gained about 10% approval, which is great. I don't have to fear being deposed. Now, back over here, even though this supply chain is established, there's one more thing I want to take a look at. We've got this coconut harvester right here. It's not very efficient. And if I recall correctly, this actually isn't in a great location. Yeah, indeed, this is not very fertile for coconuts. So I just want to see if there is a better location. It looks like up here is slightly better. Even though that's not our farming island, I'm going to relocate this one thing. Then I'll increase the budget and then add our 2 upgrades, which will improve the job quality and decrease the time it takes to grow coconuts. And now we're at 132% efficiency. Beautiful. Now, one of the reasons that I wanted to relocate that is I'm going to be building a textile mill now, so we're going to need even more cotton. So let's build a couple more plantations. And it looks like cotton will do really well over here and really well over here. So I'll build one tiny plantation right here and 2 larger plantations right here. And to make these work, I'm going to have to take this gold mine and relocate it. And while I'm at it, I decided to add a second mine on the same deposit. And then because I don't want a monoculture right here, I'm going to add one more plantation. And I think tobacco will grow really well right here. So I'll place a small plantation like this. And then we'll round things out with a manure spreader. Now for all these plantations, we'll maximize efficiency. And that's increasing the budget, changing the work mode, and then adding the mechanization upgrade. And then over here, this one actually isn't attached to anything. That was purposeful. I want to reorient things here just a little bit. And that's because I really want this bridge right here. This bridge will de-cul-de-sac both of our islands. It's incredibly important. We're going to work on that very soon. But first, let's build our textile mill. And I'll place this right here, which should be incredibly efficient. Oh, and thank goodness, Tropicans have voted for El Presidente. Did we expect anything else? Now for our textile mill, we'll obviously crank the budget, but we have 2 work modes here available to us. This one increases the efficiency by 15%, but the pollution by 50%. I probably shouldn't do this, but I'm going to do it. And then for our upgrades, we're going to add all the jobs, increase the efficiency by 10%, but require more power, and add the unified weaving feeder, considering we have both cotton and wool. And with that, we have 2 more factories to establish. We're going to switch gears and build them right here on our little industrial island. And that's because both the vehicle factory and the plastics plant will probably produce a lot of pollution. Now, I think we'll probably need the plastics plant first. That's probably an input into vehicle production. So I'll place this right over here, knowing that there are no resources here. Now, for plastics, we're also going to need oil. So we could go for either an oil well or an offshore oil rig. Now, there are a couple of different locations for oil, but I think that the one that probably makes the most sense is going to be right here, right in the middle of our farming area. It happens, and it's going to happen. So we'll unlock this blueprint, and then I'm going to tuck 2 wells back here. And then let's hide these things with lots and lots of trees. And that was expensive, but worth it. There we go, sneaky hidden oil production. Let's crank the budgets and improve efficiency, even if we pollute a little bit more. And we've got to add this coiled tubing rig upgrade. This one actually decreases the consumption of oil deposit to 80%, which is pretty awesome. And now that this is constructed, we'll crank the budget, take a look at the work modes, and as much as the high-speed fabrication sounds amazing, it is also going to dramatically increase the consumption, so we're not going to do that. And we can't apply any upgrades because they're all in modern times. And finally, we'll build our last factory, our vehicle factory. This takes steel and rubber and produces vehicles, so we actually don't need oil for this. But we will need to add rubber plantations because I believe we removed all of those. And this fits very nicely right here. And rubber's basically fertile everywhere, so I think that we'll just place this right here near the rest of our plantations. And there we have Tropic cars. It's a thing of beauty. The only thing that's not a thing of beauty is this weird grid. And because I am who I am, you know I'm going to fix it. But back over here to our vehicle factory, we're going to change our work mode to company car so that all the employees can drive to work. We'll crank the budget, and we'll apply the crash test dummies upgrade to increase the job quality by 5. And we'll max out our plantations as well. And even with all that building, our bank balance continues to improve. We actually have 100,000 more than we did when we started building all these factories. So let's switch gears and start to focus on housing. Now, bluntly, housing is kind of a mess here on Tropico. You can see that we've got shacks everywhere. And looking at our almanac, we have almost 200 homeless citizens, which is kind of wild because that means that basically 15% of the island is homeless. Now, we do have a lot of unemployed citizens, but if we dive into this, it looks like most of our homeless are actually well off or rich, which is kind of wild. So with that context, we're going to need to build a ton of housing. So I think I want to take this block right here, extend it over, and then build out this way as well. But here's the thing. El Presidente cares about gradients of density and ensuring that we are building up near the core of our community. So we're likely going to call a mulligan on significant portions of this. But first things first, let's make sure that our most well-off Tropicans are taken care of. Now, this neighborhood looks great, but it's only catering to rich folks and well-off folks. And while they make up the bulk of our homeless citizens, we still have some poor and broke citizens that need homes as well. Now, one thing I'm realizing that I didn't do was enact the Urban Development Edict. I really should have done that. That would have reduced the cost of all residential building by 50%. Better late than never, I guess. And I'm doing that because we are going to dramatically redevelop this area. The first thing I'm going to do is take some of these apartments and extend this out a bit further. Then I want to take some of these flop houses and move them further away from the core. Now, what I've decided to do here is try to create some sort of a residential super block. This will be highly pedestrian focused and we'll have parks all the way through the middle. I think I might actually increase the density through the centerpiece as well. Now, we've also got these Caventillos right here, and I think I want to take these out of the downtown area. They're just not very attractive, and honestly, after thinking about this, maybe we use this in some of the far-flung portions of the island for localized housing. You can see nobody's living here, so it seems like it's not the worst idea. So I'm going to grab this one, and we're going to place this near this cigar factory over here. And as I do that, I'm going to demolish all of these shacks. And then I want to see if all of those folks move into here. Not all of them, but let's improve the quality of this building and then sit tight for a moment. And would you look at that? This thing filled up in short order. Now, unfortunately, we've also used up all of our power once again. And because I just love polluting over here, apparently, we're going to copy this power plant and paste another one. Now, back to our other Caventillo. I'm going to relocate this one to be near our jeweler over here. And my hope is that folks here could walk across to these businesses if they need to. So let's force these folks into some housing. And much like our other commentillo, this one is full in short order. So that brings me back here up to the core of our community because I want to see what we need to build. And it looks like it's a mix of everything, skewing towards the well-off and the poor. So with that in mind, I'm going to build a few apartments and a few tenements. And then we're far enough away from some of our public services that I feel like we should add some over here. So I'm going to add a grocery store way over here, along with a fire station because I keep seeing fires everywhere, and a police station because we have to keep the peace. Absolutely adore how colorful this is. It looks so good. And I'm really glad that we built this fire station because the hospital was actually burning down as we were constructing these neighborhoods. Now let's take a look at homelessness one more time. 92 homeless citizens. And you know what? El Presidente's had enough. It's time to say no more shacks. No more shacks on Tropico.
Presidente, I've recently visited the, let's say, less fortunate neighborhoods of our beloved island. And I must say, although I enjoyed the street food, I was no fan of the architecture. Too much sheet metal and plywood for me. It's just that once you see one shack, you've seen them all.
Listen, I like planning. I'm not sure that hiring the mafia to keep homeless people off the streets is the right idea, but here's the thing. I don't like shacks. Goodbye, shacks. The whole reason that we're doing that is we've got plenty of available housing, so there's no reason that we should have everyone living in shacks. So I think that I have to go through and manually remove these one last time, but now that I've done that for those, they won't come back. And now El Presidente himself has gone through town and removed all of the shacks. And we finished building just in time. Our urban development policy has just ended. And now my hope is that as we fast forward, we're going to see our homeless population fall. And after letting it simulate for about a year, homelessness has been cut in half. So we're definitely moving in the right direction. So let's switch gears and build some tourism buildings. Now just reasonably, until we're going to add a tourist port, most of the items in the tourism menu don't make sense to place because many of them only allow tourists to visit. However, I think that Tropicans would definitely want to see some luxury entertainment. That might be the biggest benefit that they would get from opening up the island to tourists. So let's keep Tropicans happy by adding a gourmet restaurant, golf course, cocktail bar, and casino. And we'll start with the gourmet restaurant. And I think that El Presidente would want to have close access to this. And because of that, I'm going to relocate a couple of things, namely the police station right here. We'll move that to the other end of town and place this wonderful restaurant in this more valuable real estate. That is a nice looking asset. Let's crank the budget and give the restaurant an exquisite wine cellar. We've got a ton of money, we might as well. Next, we'll add a cocktail bar. And I think for this one, I want to put this back here. The main reason for that is I feel like this would be a hot spot for all the folks leaving this area. This is where the movers and shakers get things done. And that's beautiful. And now for something a bit more controversial. Time for a casino. Now this is a larger building, and I think I'm going to place this in a location that might seem unconventional at first blush, right over here. Now there are a couple of reasons why I like this spot. Makes it feel like it's more of a destination. But also, we're really close to the police station, and I know that this place is going to generate a ton of crime.
Presidente, it is so dry that dogs are marking their territory with chalk lines.
Oh, and that's exciting. We have a drought. I think that we say work goes on, conserve water for industrial buildings because we are still trying to make as much money as we can. We're about to build a massive military. And then finally, I want to build a golf course. And this is one of the reasons that I actually added this long road down here. I've been thinking this would be a beautiful spot for a golf course, and a drought is the perfect time to build it.
Presidente announces today a new deal with God, bringing an end to recent shortages of rain and drinking water. Praise be to the palace!
And since El Presidente worked out a deal with God, we built a golf course. For the work mode, we currently have beginner courses, but I think that I want to have no green fee so that everyone on Tropico can enjoy this. And then we can't add the upgrade till modern times, but it's not that big of a deal. We're not making money from this thing anyway. And would you look at that? Tropico now has $1 million. So what that means is we have to celebrate by telling everyone how great El Presidente is. And we'll do that by installing some inspiring billboards and some inspiring statues. These will also convince Tropicans that it's not that big of a deal that we're pumping the brakes on tourism and building up a military. So let's begin with the billboard. And we'll place one right here so that every single Tropican gets to pass this billboard and feel El Presidente's love. And the great thing about this location is that because the billboard increases approval and everyone has to drive by it, everyone will love El Presidente. But let's add a few more. We'll place one right here outside of the circus. Now, if you get off the boat, you see El Presidente. One right here before you get on the bridge, and one on the other side as well. And of course, we have to add some to this bridge too. And we have our de-cul-de-sacing bridge that I forgot to complete. So we'll add one here, and one here, and then let's finish this connection. And we'll let the tunnel out of here. So I'm going to add a connection right here and right here. And this should easily connect into the rest of our roadway network. Look at that. Beautiful. And this will allow people to come from downtown, way over here, and still pass El Presidente. And now we'll add some inspiring statues. And there are 5 to choose from, and each statue gives you a different benefit. So this passionate leader statue, for instance, will slightly improve the approval for citizens living near it. Whereas Welcome to the Family will increase the approval of immigrants living nearby. Let's begin with the passionate leader, and I'm going to place a couple of these right over here. And look at how nice El Presidente looks. No wonder they love him when they're close to this statue. Now, for our Welcome to the Family statue, I feel like we should place that near the immigration office. I believe that this is the back of it, but it's a good fit nonetheless. And actually, that's the customs office. Still close enough to the immigration office, which honestly, we should crank the budget and maybe set the work mode to skilled workers. We have to do a bit of research first. And I will accept that side quest. Right there, the immigration office. And this will give us a better chance to get skilled workers, which is going to be really important once we establish our military. I'm going to also add the security control upgrade here, which will give us a 50% chance of detecting hidden roles for immigrants. Next, we have the Unforgiving Overseer. This decreases liberty, but makes the residents living nearby less likely to be rebels. I think that we are going to do that for some of our wealthier citizens. Don't even think about crossing El Presidente. We'll also inspire people. So it's 2 sides of the same coin, I suppose. And look at this. It looks like he's doing like a Disco Inferno pose or something like that. It's kind of funny. And this one is definitely intimidating. And it looks like it's a weathered old statue, like El Presidente is 100 years old or something like that. And he's been watching over Tropico for years. And finally, we have our humble servant statue. This increases liberty around the statue and increases my relations with superpowers. So I think I'm going to place this outside of the embassy right here. But first, I'm going to add a custom park. And the whole reason I'm doing this first is I know that I can add statues on top of these, but I can't add this on top of a statue. And we have 2 humble servant statues. It does seem like El Presidente is humble. And with that, it's finally time for the main attraction, building up our military. The first thing that we have to do is adjust our constitution. And rather than being a pacifist state, we'll now have professional soldiers. And then we've got a lot to build. I want to start out with the basics. We're going to build a couple of watchtowers. These will engage enemy squads during military conflicts, while also giving us a chance to discover hidden roles of passerbyers. This will decrease liberty though, so we got to use these things sparingly. I think I'm going to place one right about here. And that's because back in the day, we used to have a guard tower over here. It feels like a fitting swap. Now, additionally, I'm going to place one of these very near our port. And I'm going to place one more where I plan on building up all of our military installations, and that's down here. Now to get down here, we're going to have to build a tunnel. So I'll build the entry right here, and then the exit's going to be over here. And I'll build the watchtower right here. So if anyone comes through, we'll get them. And as I think about it, there's probably one more that we should build near all of our power plants. This is way too important of infrastructure to leave it unguarded. So I'll place it right there. So now that we've built the location of our military installation, let's populate it with barracks and an army base. Now the barracks provides infantry squads, so I think I'm going to build a couple of these. And then the army base provides a tank squad to fight in military conflicts. I think I'll just build one of these. And then I feel like we have to add a security checkpoint to this area. This is used to check drivers for hidden roles. It increases crime safety but decreases liberty, so I don't want to overuse these. So I'm just going to place this right here. And this would seem to make sense. If you're going into the military base, you've got to pass through a security checkpoint. Next, I want to build the Spy Academy. This is a lot like the Commando Garrison, but it's a little bit more stealthy and it's a lot more attractive. So I'm going to place this kind of in the heart of the community, and it looks really, really nice. So I'll try to pass this off as a normal building by placing a park next to it. And speaking of normal buildings, I also want to build the research lab so that we can increase our knowledge accumulation. Now, this is going to be important because we need knowledge to produce the atomic weapon. So I think I'm going to place this very close to our university. It almost feels like another university building. So we'll blend it in and make a little bit of a campus right here. And then we've got two more critical facilities. First, the aircraft carrier. These will host planes that will automatically attack enemy squads as they approach. We're going to place this right outside of the palace. And finally, we'll build our nuclear program. This will allow us to construct bombs that keep superpowers from invading. And once we build this, we can start bullying one of the superpowers. And we've got to place this back here. We've got to make sure that this building is safe. And now we can watch our military spring to life. And I didn't expect this, but after building all this military equipment, everyone loves El Presidente, 73% approval, so it seems like we're on the right track. Now, our nuclear program is not powered, so we're gonna need to build a substation. And I'm just gonna quick build that. We've got a ton of money. And I wanted to do that because we've got to set the efficiency of this program to the very top, and then we have to build a bomb. And I feel like for the rest of our military, we also need to max out the efficiency and ensure that all of our upgrades are in place.
The palace today announces a new mascot, Hermano Mayor. He is big and he's your brother. He'll always keep an eye on you, and that's a promise.
I think that is my favorite message from the palace. And look at that, indeed, everyone loves El Presidente. So we'll keep everything as is. Now, bluntly, we've added a lot of expense to Tropico, but looking at our economy, it looks like we are still producing more revenue than expenses. Still, I want to let things shake out for a while, so let's do a little bit of landscaping and detailing and watch the economy like a hawk. after spending about $400,000 on trees, I think that the island is looking pretty darn good. Just take a look at this. We've really grown substantially, and we now have a powerful and beautiful military. But perhaps most importantly, our bomb is now complete and we can flex our muscles. So let's do it. Check that out. We are launching a missile into the sky. No one will mess with El Presidente. Let's queue up another bomb. We've also dramatically expanded our industrial base, and take a look at our approval. 84%. Everyone loves El Presidente. And I've got to admit, the planner in me absolutely loves that we've de-cul-de-sac the islands, at least all but this one. We'll have to think about that in the future. And in the near future, we're also going to have to start thinking about tourism. But for today, I think we're going to leave it here. And I really hope that you've enjoyed this one. If you did, please hit the like button. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. And I want to thank you so much for your time today. There's a million things you could have been doing. You decided to hang out with me and build up a military in Tropico. And for that, I appreciate you and I appreciate your time. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.